Have you been here? Or here? How about here? While you may not have been to these exact places, many people have recently found themselves with memories of being in spaces like this at some point in their lives. Hey everyone, Macro here. I'm sure like many people, you've been scrolling through your YouTube feed when suddenly you see a video like this. It's fairly easy to just label these kind of videos as aesthetic, but as someone who appreciates a good vaporwave, I think it's more complex than that. And that seems to be what a lot of other people think as well. Now, unlike my last video about Saki Samebashi, this is more of an opinion-based video, as there isn't really many facts or any real history about liminal spaces. I should say before I continue that all of what I'm about to say is speculation. There isn't really a definite answer to why some people feel certain ways about these images, but for me, this is what I feel like is a fairly reasonable answer. So what is a liminal space? Well, liminality is actually something that has existed as a concept for years, getting its name from Latin for threshold. So this isn't something that a bunch of people memed into existence for the lols. But the recent obsession with these spaces is what is interesting. As a search term, liminal space is currently at an all-time high in what you'd consider the Western world, like the US, Canada and the UK. This would make sense, as these images are typically considered to be mostly taken in the US and naturally would appeal more to an audience that would recognise places like that. I'm sure you've seen this, a rather famous image associated with the backrooms. If you know nothing about the backrooms, you must have been living under a rock the last few years, but I suggest looking it up if you're interested. Anyway, this image is of a liminal space, a threshold, a space between where you are and where you are going. But that isn't the only thing that makes a liminal space. Nostalgia is interesting. It can often skew how we feel about something from our childhood. As we get older, our memories fade, and I think this is why people of a certain generation find themselves intrigued by liminal spaces. These thresholds aren't significant to us. We make journeys every day through spaces like this. Most of the more impactful images I've seen are often low quality and stuck in a time from many years ago. Have any of the images to the left seemed familiar to you? As I said in the beginning, you may not have been to these exact places, but similar places. As we get older, our exact memories of these thresholds, these transitional spaces, get skewed and fuzzy. And then you see an image that looks familiar. Familiar enough that your brain makes a connection. You've been here before. I think the lack of people in these images adds a dream or even nightmare-like feeling to them that for some people is actually a little scary. I can definitely see how some people would feel unease with these pictures. Imagine being here. No life in sight except you. What could be around that corner? Or even behind you? Coupled with the potential familiarity of these images, you've got a rather creepy combination. But of course, not everyone feels that way. I actually asked a friend of mine who lives in Central Europe how they feel about these images, and they didn't have the same reaction as me and many others. After finding out about liminal spaces, I've often wondered, why have these images been popular in recent months? Is it possible that the emptiness of these images reminds us of what has happened recently during lockdown? Being trapped in our homes while the outside world is empty, void of human life? Maybe. In reality, there could be any number of reasons, or even a combination of factors I've already mentioned, that attract people to this strange phenomenon of liminality. I realise this video has been a little all over the place, but I am new to doing videos like this, especially putting my thoughts down in a coherent-ish way. I would like to explore some other aspects in relation to liminal spaces sometime in the future, so if you'd be interested in that, please let me know in the comments. For now though, head over to r/liminal space for some more examples. Maybe you'll see somewhere you've been before.